everyone, welcome back to another edition of That Mill podcast. I'm back. Don't know if you missed me, but my name's Omar. Joining me as always is my regular co-host, Mr. Mickey Simpson. You right, Geese?
Yes, Geese, you? I'm
Yeah,
all
not
good, mate. I'm all good. It's you've inflicted pain on me, but no, all good, all good. If you want to know what that is, then see the tweet I posted on my personal account about 5:30 this morning.
If no one does check it, well, we decided to go to the gym together, haven't we? So watch this space. Beach Bodies 2022 is the goal. Well, there is no goal, but yeah, something along those lines, isn't it, right?
Yeah, we both want to get into our bikinis, don't we? So, do you know what I mean? It's we decided that we started our own fat club. We were trying to get on one what Millwall was doing months ago. They haven't done it, or they've done it and not told us. So, we decided to do that Millwall podcast does the gym.
We'll be sure to update you on the DOMs that Mickey gets from today's gym session in the next show. But obviously,
look at you, all gym talk, all gym DOMs, all gym talk. Do you know what I mean?
DOMs.
So,
Come on,
yeah,
if you don't know what DOMs are, Google them. But obviously, we're going to talk today about our all-important game that we're going to obviously win comfortably tonight. At the time of recording, it goes out tomorrow. That is a trip away to Fulham. I mean, we'll talk more about that obviously in the first part of the show. But Mickey, just give me your initial hopes going into tomorrow's game.
We're going to win.
Oh my God. Okay, well, that's going to be.
I just got this feeling because they played Saturday against Man City. They would have had a really tough game, and I just fancy your reverse psychology trick, what you did the other week. So, I think we're going to go in there as the underdog, and when we go in there as the underdog, and also Gary telling us don't panic because we've only got one striker, but actually we've got so many players what can play attacking roles. But I think tomorrow we're just going to absolutely faduddle Fulham, and we're going to win. Whether or not we win 1-0 or we win 22-0, I don't know. But I've got a feeling, it's in my waters. I've got this feeling that we're potentially going to win.
I mean, for a team that started 2022 with, wins like 7-0,
don't be negative now,
6-2 and 6-2, I've got to agree to disagree, but it's okay. We can, I like the reverse psychology. I like what you're doing there. But obviously, this will be that we'll talk about more on the first part of the show there. Second part of the show, we're actually going to preview or put in a previous recording that Mickey done with Rob Woodford from Out the Blue tour that we done obviously
Out
in
the
November.
Blue, the tour. Yeah, they got a tour coming up next month, and if you can do it, then get involved. We've done it, and we even went to the pub where Millwall started, and I managed to blag to be able to get down in the cellar and see the original meeting place. So definitely get involved. It's a good tour, but you'll hear more about it later on.
You'll hear loads about it. I think it was done just prior to us going on the actual tour, but obviously Rob's a very knowledgeable person, and if you're interested in that sort of thing, and it's just a tour around the Isle of Dogs, 3 or 4 hours of your day, there's a stop off in the middle at the pub. I'm sure we'll talk more about it maybe in the future, or maybe getting back on again to talk about it aftermath.
Yeah, definitely.
But it definitely was a great thing to do, and it was enjoyable. So if you're looking for anything to do during the international break and looking for your fix, I think that's when they try to run them. And obviously, this is going to go on the March international break. Be sure to check that out. If you're new around here, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It does bump up the charts just a little bit more, gets a bit more exposure. We do greatly appreciate it. Check us out across our socials at That Mill Pods. It's in the bottom here. Me and Mickey both got it in our little description. So be sure to check us out on socials as well. And I think we'll crack on to the first part of the show.
And if by magic.
And welcome to the first part of the show. I think, Mickey, I'm going to let you take it away a little bit. You're telling me all this delusional we're going to win to that tomorrow.
Oh, look, let's be honest.
It's going to be a tough game tonight, mate, against Fulham.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, we're recording this obviously Monday, but we'll play it as if it's today. So I think today's game, we'll probably get spanked. But I've just got something in me was just telling me that actually I think we might. I mean, you look at statistics and whatnot. I mean, Fulham are 70%, a 70% chance of winning this. We stand at 11% with a 19% draw. But come on, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on what it is. Realistically, I think we'll be spanked. I think we'll be given a schooling tomorrow or tonight. But I've just got something in me what thinks that we might just nick this.
If you fancy a little punt, We're 8-1. If you're into your betting, is there value to be seen there? Probably not. There's probably a reason why Fulham are 1.36 on. If you're doing on decimals, it's not worth you backing. 100 quid returns you about 36 quid. £1 returns you about 36 pence. And there's probably a reason to it. I mean, obviously, the only thing I'll subscribe to and get behind Mickey's point a little bit is they played on Saturday at the Etihad. They lost 4-1 to Man City after going 1-0 up in the first 4 minutes, and then it kind of slipped away from them after that. But no crying shame to lose 4-1 away at, the best team in England, arguably. So, yeah, it's going to be a really tricky tie. I'm looking forward to going. Obviously, Craven Cottage is normally a good away day. It's a shame it's not a weekend. Would have been nice to get a little party boat on
They
the
won't
night.
do it though because of the boats.
Yeah, I know. Well, hopefully one day, please go back on that word or whoever's in charge of that,
As
and we
soon
can
as they
get a little
do,
boat
mate,
on the
there'll be
river.
definitely be a That Millwall podcast boat.
I can only imagine the scenes, to be honest. To be fair, I remember when we played them, I think it was when Wolford scored that goal. We won 1-0 under Holloway. I just remember it was a hot summer's day in August. I think it was our first away game of the season at the time. And I just remember the scene. I didn't get a boat that day, but I remember walking along after you come out of Putney Bridge Station and all the boats going along, hearing the mirrors, all the chants. And did you do one that day, Mickey? Was you on one before? I'm pretty sure. I'm sure it's an
We
enjoyable
done.
experience.
Oh, yeah, I know. We won one the first year we went back to them after they come down from the Prem,
That must have been that season then, the
and
summer one.
there was loads of viral videos going around of us going underneath Westminster Bridge and Tower Bridge,
Love it.
and you get because our boat was the loudest boat on the Thames for sound system on Hurlingham, and yeah, Jesus, it was rocking and it was good. There
I
was
think
lots of boats there, so yeah, it's good.
obviously I had that pre-match memory. Then we won 1-0. There was about 6,000 Millwall fans there because you had 5,000 allocation plus the 1,000
That was
neutral
back in
area.
2014, wasn't it, when we won
Yeah,
1-0 there? Yeah.
that's it. And obviously it was just a season we just stayed up beforehand, and then we kind of carried that form into the season. Beat Leeds 2-0 first game of the season. Beat Fulham 1-0. We're all getting a bit delusional, carried away. And Ian Holloway got clapped off, and we was all singing his name. Ole, 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 ole. I mean,
Wanker,
think back now.
wanker.
Think about now. It's it just shows how carried away we get as football fans. And we started this season, for example, saying we're probably gonna get playoffs and maybe win the league. So we're delusional at best of times. But I think right now we're being quite realistic about it. It's gonna be a tough game. I wanted to also say about that day, Mickey, 2014. Do you remember the post match walking through the park and the wedding going
With
on?
the
The Asian
Korean
couple.
wedding. Yeah, everyone's saying it's Chinese. It was a Korean wedding.
I
They
say
were Korean, I
Asian.
think.
Asian. I
Yeah.
said Asian
No, they
there.
were Korean,
Okay.
I think they were. But yeah,
Right.
Christ, I really don't think they really understood what was happening. It was, like we got off the boat and all of a sudden we were walking through and there was some others who were like, I don't know, getting pictures, and then suddenly our boat, had a few hundred on, just suddenly a mad dash. And, I mean, to them must be a great memory, but it's a great memory for us. I mean, everyone was, full of joys, full of good laughs and all that lot. But yeah, they definitely had more pictures taken that day than they could possibly thought. And I reckon that's on most people's phones who went. There's probably a picture of that wedding on, either in iCloud or in people's storages from that day. So yeah.
I remember a chap that I know, a pal of mine. He had a tweet go viral because he ran right up to them, got a little selfie with
Oh
them and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that, and about 4,000 or 5,000 retweets at the time. And back then, that's good going on Twitter to get a viral tweet. You seem to get them all the time nowadays, but yeah, I think that was just a good memory of that day. I mean, since then we've seen some pastings though, Mickey. I remember I think it was 3-0 or 4-0 defeat. I think you've got the past results up on there, so you might be able to help me.
Well,
When
4-0,
Harris
when it 4-0 1920 season. Yeah, we got
There
battered
you go.
4-0.
So it was 4-0. Obviously, they beat us quite comfortably on the time. And I think that was the year that, Harris is one of the second to last, third to last away games he had for us in charge. I think we was 2-0 down in the first half. And I think that was crazy statistic was going around where they had like 88% possession in the first half. We hardly touched the ball. Second half wasn't much better at the time. And they just absolutely popped us off the pitch and just showed us what kind of talent they had at the time. I think Mitch Fitch playing, he's obviously got 30 goals in 30 games this year or something ridiculous. It's a decent squad there at Fulham, and I mean, based on recent form for them and the amount of goals they score, I mean, I'm not saying we've come back on back-to-back clean sheets in recent games, but I think we'll have to be at our very, very best, mate, to keep a clean sheet in this game.
Yeah, he's got 28 goals in 26 games, two more than he had this time last year, or two more than what he had last season. So yeah, hopefully you don't score against us tomorrow and put that tally up even more. If we turn up and we've got a bit of passion for it, then I think we'll be all right. But look, let's be honest, everyone thinks we're going to get battered, especially and the shout out here is old Dave Run Dave. He's going and already posted that he's looking forward to seeing his first away game win this season. Which he's jinxed it proper now. We're not gonna we probably won't win now because whenever he seems to go to games, we fucking lose. So yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, we get there, I think, eventually, but yeah, we'll see.
Shout out to Dave. I think yeah, look, it's good. I'm not expecting anything. Expect the worst and hope for the best. I think that's normally the analogy you use. However, I'm gonna expect the worst and hope for a little bit better than the worst in that case. Because I mean, look, I would love to see us turn up, put a performance in, make everyone kind of raise their eyebrows and go, "Fuck me, we're a team here." And let's be honest, we'll always do well when the odds are stacked against us. And I don't think there could be any more stats against us this whole season, mate. Being 8-1 to win, and we've had players come back from injury. Jed Wallace is going to have more training time in, and he came on as a sub against Preston. We kept 2 clean sheets back to back, 4 points from the last 6 at home. I'm trying to cling on to some kind of silver linings, and this is when we need Kai in this chat. And obviously he's not around tonight, but he would normally kind of interject with some sort of hope and optimism. I think even now speaking, he'd have a difficult time trying to put some hope and optimism into us, Mickey. But if you're going to catch this sort of team, you're going to have to be really solid defensively and try to hit them on the counter attack. And with the mobile forwards we've got, Afobe, Burke, Wallace, any of that combination could be playing tomorrow. I guess that's just got to be the game plan, isn't it, mate? Try and hit them on a counter attack and just really hope you're defensively solid and just see the game out as best as you can, really.
Yeah, look, as I said, I don't know how we're going to play them because the last thing we want to do is go there and be defensive. But we need to do something different to what we're doing. We definitely can't just bow down to them. Yeah, counter attack or even just take their legs out within the first 5 minutes. Going hard. Keith goes in hard, gets a yellow card, and just studs up a few of their players so they can't necessarily run around a bit. Then yeah, we got a result. But something needs to be done. Football gods need to be involved, and positive thinking. So do good deeds all day tomorrow, and hopefully they'll be repaid at the cottage. You going back to the cottage, Hellier? I'd never forget the thing you made with the bird in the white dress in the hospitality being shouted. She takes out the arse, and yeah, that was another good memory from there. And also the first season we went there, Fulham didn't realise that we'd bring so many. So because I think it was the first year. No, I was AMS, I think, but it was there when we took probably about 7,500 fans there.
Yeah,
and we took over the neutral end, and Fulham from that moment on made the neutral end members that you couldn't end up doing it for the second or third year. You couldn't have it.
I think we've got a lot of a smaller allocation tomorrow or tonight. You guys get the gist of when we're recording this and when it's going out. But I think we've just sold 2,000 the initial allocation. We've not asked for any more. I don't know if they're actually going to give any more because they've reduced the capacity because obviously they're expanding the stadium on the left-hand side, the riverside, so to speak. So I think they've reduced obviously the home allocation as a result of that and the away to go with it. But I think even if we did have 4,000 or 5,000 tickets, I think we'd have struggled to sell out for this occasion. I mean, it helps obviously recent results. We've kept, some sort of hope. There's a little bit of stability in that team. The back 3 or back 5 seems to be quite consistent. Obviously,
you've been the clean sheets for the last 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to try and hold on to some sort of, silver line here where possible. Like I said earlier, I think Bielkowski in goal, Wallace left side centre half, Hutchinson and Cooper make up the back 3, Danny Mack at right wing back, Malone at left wing back. I just think they've all got to be on their A game, and it'll be interesting to see who he goes for in the midfield pairing because I think if anything, he'll probably go for a midfield 3 instead of midfield 2 with 3 attackers. I think it'll be probably a midfield 3 of Keith, Mitchell, and Saville. And then I suspect maybe even Evans in there for all we know. You never know if Gary Rowett. He might think, the weekend's game is a bit more important. Obviously, we've got, a must win. Well, not a must win, but, a game against Steve Morrison coming to town with Cardiff on Saturday. And I'm not saying we should take our eye off this game tonight, but at the same time, if you ask me what the priority is going into this week, is it trying to get a result against Fulham or trying to get a result against Cardiff? Cardiff also in good nick at the moment and did themselves no disjustice despite losing 3-1 to Liverpool in the FA Cup at the weekend. I think I'd want to prioritise that game against Cardiff. So if that meant, for example, Evans playing tonight, as much as that's thought is scary against a side like Fulham, I would personally like to see the potential of three midfielders maybe being Keith, Saville and Mitchell. But if it was Evans in there, like I said, it would be no kind of crying shame. And I guess the front two maybe of Burke and Afobe. I think Wallace is on his way back, Mickey. But what would you make of my team? Would you make any changes to it? Or, I think I could see Wallace potentially coming back in. Don't get me wrong. Like, Jedi's obviously came off the bench the other night, but he didn't look 100%. And also, I think, like I said, with an eye on Saturday, I'd want to save him to be 100% for the weekend, personally. Don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think we probably got the two new. I mean, because Freeman's fit to play, isn't he?
Good shout. I don't know if he's again 100% fit. Supposedly short on minutes, but only played 45 minutes in the last 4 months or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, reading what Rout said earlier, Rout's like thinking that Burke, Freeman, and Afobe potentially as a front three.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, if Freeman's got some of the pace what Burke's got,
he's not quite the same, Mickey. He's more of a kind of number 10 kind of.
Right.
I'd say he's an upgrade on Conor Mahoney, and he's a similar sort of player to Conor Mahoney.
So I know what 10 is. 10's like a Rooney player.
Yeah, I mean, Rooney was a number 9, then a 10,
just at the back,
then a 8, then a 6, and Rooney could have played centre half at one point, and now he's on the touchline. So, no, I think Freeman. I'm interested to see what he does for us. I don't know if he's a good signing, but I don't know if it was the signing if we had an option of maybe bringing an out-and-out forward instead of Freeman, or if there was an option there to go elsewhere with it. He's a loanee again, 29 years old. I wasn't obviously here for the show previous, and I think you guys touched on Freeman a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see if he does come in, where he fits into this team, because he likes to play the 5-2-3. Maybe he sees him playing as the number 10 where Ojo was playing, obviously when Ojo picks up that position behind the front two. I just think for this game in particular, you've just got to try and show out that midfield, and this is perfect for Rowett to kind of play that 5-3-2, three holding midfielders, try and sit back. That basically that team we played against Blackpool, I have no begrudges whatsoever if he tries to play it tonight against Fulham, and just try. And if there's any counter attack, have Burke up front with Afobe, or Burke up front with Bennett, whoever you want to go with. Just a bit of pace on the break and try and play off them. That's the only thing you can do. Play the channels, get the players to run the channels up front, and just hope you get something from it. I mean, I feel a bit delusional paying 30 quid anyway as it is to go to this game, because I can't see anything else but a defeat, mate.
Yeah, you're going tomorrow, aren't you?
I am. I mean, I think it's helpful that I'll be in the pub by 4 o'clock. So definitely need a few beers beforehand just to kind of get a bit of Dutch courage to watch that play out.
I tell you, mate. I tell you, as long as you're in the gym at 6 on Wednesday, mate, you're all right.
Don't you worry about me, mate. I'll be there. I think
I'll tell you now, if you're not there, mate, everyone will know come 6:05 on Wednesday morning. Trust me.
Okay.
If I have to be there on my own,
you won't be. And if I don't turn up, you won't go anyway. So don't pretend.
Oh, I will. Yeah, no, I will actually. Yeah.
No, you're right, mate. I think it's just gonna be a difficult task. It really is. I mean, I can't get past it. I think maybe I'm frowning upon it too much, but if we get away with a 0-0, that'd be like a win to me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree completely. But I don't know what it is. I've just got this little tiny feeling that we're going to be all right. I don't know what it is. I really, I can't put my finger on what it is.
Blind hope.
But yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it is blind hope. But I think when we're underdogs, we always perform better.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going there already under the pretense that we're going to lose. It's not a fact of we're going to lose. It's a fact. The thinking is how many are we going to lose by?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be lucky and just get beat 1-0, or are we going to be unlucky and Fulham suddenly comes screaming on form and we get beat 8-9-0? Because they've got it in them. It's just, if our players switch off, we're going to get spanked. But if they turn up with a little bit, then there's a chance there that, we can hold them a bit and possibly score a goal or two and hold them back, then the game's ours. But look, realistically, I think we won't win. But
We'll see.
optimistically, I think that there's something in me what's saying we're going to get a win. We're going to get a result tomorrow.
To go with a little bit of, to give a bit of fair judgment here, their last 6 home games, they've only won 2 of them.
Yeah.
They were 2 6-2 wins against Birmingham and Bristol City. Having said that, last time out they drew 1-1 with Blackpool at home, and we saw decent side Blackpool were. They lost 1-0 at home to Sheffield United. They drew 1-0 with Bournemouth, and they drew 0-0 with Derby. So they're a bit of a mix and match side. With that said, I think there will be a real kind of hope and anticipation from the Fulham fans that they get back to winning ways. Maybe we can play on that pressure. Maybe we can try and be that kind of dogged side. I think a lot of it will, obviously, how we're set up is one thing. We kind of predict that. I think if the players are up for it tomorrow, though, and they know they're going to have to put a shift in, and you try and win that battle, then maybe you might have that chance of nicking something. So we'll have to wait and see, mate. I think we'll leave Fulham at that anyway. I'm just going to ask you what your prediction for the scoreline will be, mate, for the game.
I mean, I'm going to be positive. I'm going to go, I reckon, 2-0.
To Fulham?
To Millwall.
I'm going to be positive too and say 4-0 Fulham. Nah, I think it'll be. I think we'll lose. I can't see any other result. Yeah, I know. I'm expecting that, but I did say this when we played Preston, mate. Or sorry, West Brom. I said we'll lose, and we won the game. So be
That's
wary
what I mean.
of that.
Reverse psychology.
I think we're going to lose 3-1, and I reckon Mitrovic's
Yeah.
going to score 2, and also get booked. There you go.
No worries. No worries. Well,
I think that's it anyway, covering Fulham, mate, and that's probably going to be us for the show. But obviously, there's a couple of things we wanted to mention before we go, don't we?
yeah, I mean, we've been contacted, obviously, from my time dealing with various fan groups and whatnot. We've been contacted by a Fulham trust, and they've basically emailed to ask if I can help promote, or we can help promote the message that tomorrow there's going to be a minute applause on the 11th minute, and that's to honour a Fulham supporter who tragically had the cardiac arrest at their last home game against Blackpool, where obviously the game was stopped. And also, if you saw across Twitter, his daughter absolutely, massively did her dad proud there with everything. She come out and thanked people, medics, and this, that, and the other. So his name is Paul Parrish. And yeah, they're going to be doing a minute applause for him on the 11th minute. And they were asking Mill fans. To be fair, they've said that, they've seen that, we're very respectful of things like this. And they're just asking on us to support that cause, which I think is a valid cause. And I think it's, a worthwhile one. So, yeah, on the 11th minute, they're doing a round of applause to honour Paul Parrish, to remember Paul Parrish. So if you are going tomorrow, please get involved and support this. The family will be there, I think. So yeah, it'll be a good tribute for him.
No Mill fans, I don't for one second think we will not join in on that sort of round of applause.
No.
We're always quick to show respect and always offer our bit, I suppose. So yeah, you're bang on there, mate.
Excellente. So
anything else you want to add to the show, mate, before we shoot on to the interview?
Yeah, no, just look, I just want to say thanks to everyone. Our numbers so far are growing. YouTube numbers, retention, people watching it, people getting comments, everything else. Fantastic to get all your reviews, your comments, and more and more people listening. And it's good that, Kai got a fella come up to him at the weekend and said, the show's great. I listened to it on the train. Kai's obviously not here, but thank you very much for you. You'll know who you are when you're listening to this. other people are coming up and telling us thanks very much, much appreciated. And also, if you look in all our bios now across the social media, so Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., there's a new link in the bio. If you click on there, there's a little bit of surprise there for you. So if you click in there and have a look, see what we've done there, and let us know what you think of that. It's basically a one-stop to get everything you want regarding the show. So have a look at that. Let us know what you think of it. And just carry on supporting us. That's, absolutely fantastic. It's appreciated. We do this because we enjoy chatting bollocks for 40 minutes an hour, twice a week or more. And it's really nice that, there's a lot of people now starting to listen to us. So we appreciate every one of you who listens to us. Get in touch if you want us to shout you out. It's not a problem. But yeah, from me, thank you very much. It's it means a lot to have, the numbers what we're getting now following us. So yeah, much appreciated.
No, I agree with you there. And it's a bit of a challenge sometimes when you see the stats and you're like, how many people actually listen to us? You see the numbers and you think, oh, it's quite cool. But then you don't always get the interactions. And we always appreciate the same people that always comment.
Yeah.
We do see you and always try to get back to you and read your comments out. But if you don't really comment often or you don't really interact with us too much, but you enjoy it, it'd be good just to get your kind of feedback. And if you're listening on audio, you can put a review in, and it always does appreciate it. And from both of us, we do kind of like them reviews, and we read them out sometimes as well, even if the funny ones, because we had a few minutes of match ones in the past, haven't we?
Yeah, and I mean, if you listen to us on your watch, get in touch because you're one of the 6%.
Nice.
So if you listen to it on a watch, you're one of the 6%. If you listen to it on a desktop, you're one of the 4% who listen to us on a desktop. So
interesting. We have more people listening on a watch than a desktop.
And we don't have a lot of our listeners are growing on Google and Amazon as well. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, get in touch. But just let us know where you listen to it and where you are. That'd be quite cool. If you're on Twitter, copy us in with a picture of the city you're in. Why not? There's somewhere, and I tell you, you get an output of all the numbers, and there is some strange and far-fetched places in the world. So yeah, we just literally an hour ago, I saw that we just entered the top 100 football podcasts in Sweden.
Nice.
So yeah, fantastic. So yeah, we're always in the top 250 of England, battling between us and Nick and Wall Talk. So we're doing great there. So look, thank you for everyone. So yeah, we'll end this and get on with the tour information, shall we?
That's it. I think you saying about send where they're from. It's like around the world in 80 days, around the pods in 80 days. So like I said anyway, thanks for listening and tuning in for the first part. We're going to leave you guys here. You won't hear from us the rest of the show. It'll be just Mickey and Rob from the tours in the Isle of Dog. As I mentioned, really good tour. Couldn't recommend it enough. And if you're into that sort of thing and learning more about the Mill history, then it's the place for you 100%. If you're new around here, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and obviously be sure to check us out on our socials. And as we said, comment below. Let us know where you're listening from. We're going to leave you there, guys. Thanks for tuning in as always, and see you guys soon.
Welcome to another edition of That Millwall podcast. This one, again, is a slightly different one. We have got a special guest on today. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it's a guy called Rob Woodford, isn't it? Woodford, even. Sorry, Rob Woodford. And Rob does, you've probably seen him across social media and that. Rob does the tours around Docklands with Millwall's old hunting grounds and grounds from back in the day. So warm welcome to Rob. Good evening. How are you?
All good, Mickey. Thanks for having me on, mate.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I mean, we're coming on the tour. Me and Omar are coming on the tour this weekend, and just really sort of a bit about you and why you're doing it. I mean, so what do you do as a whole, and why Millwall Tours?
So I'm a tour operator. My business is Black Cab Heritage Tours, and I'm a tour guide as well. And I started in business in about 2007. And over the years, I just thought, because Millwall is my passion, as an accredited London tour guide, why don't I devise a tour around the Isle of Dogs, which covered the first 25 years of our history? From that summer of 1885 up to 1910. So that's what we're going to do on the walking tour. And there is also a drive-in tour as well, which hasn't been launched yet, but that's a work in progress.
Definitely, we'll definitely be interested in that as well. But so, what do people get from the tour? I mean, what do people need to understand what they're looking forward to? Obviously, the tour is a walking tour, so people who possibly can't walk that far, it might be. How many miles in total do we walk?
In terms of miles, we did calculate it to be something like about just under 6. But when you think we break that up with half-time refreshments, like any game, it's a game of 2 halves. So we're going to stop in a hostelry
Yeah.
for half-time. We won't be sucking oranges like they do over at Hackney Marshes. We'll be having a few of these. And then that also helps the second part of the tour because people have had a drink or two, they become a little bit more interactive.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit of fun. It's all a bit of a laugh because when we first get started, it seems like everybody's a bit too polite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when we get actually into the island, into around the Millwall dock area, things, people tend to lighten up a little bit.
So
once I've had some refreshment.
So what made Millwall? I mean, obviously I know bits and pieces about it, but I'm going to ask it as in people who don't necessarily know. Why did Millwall start in the Isle of Dogs? Considering that now we're a South East London team, but originally we started obviously as an East London team.
Yes, indeed, and our biggest rivals from the outset, apart from the local teams, that became Arsenal long before the West Ham rivalry. And you know what happened? We swapped with them. We went to South London, and they came up the other side of the river. But why there? Well, it was because of a certain gentleman called John Thomas Morton, who had a factory on the Isle of Dogs, and he employed lads down from Scotland because obviously the wages he paid them would be a bit cheaper than what he would have to pay London lads. And those boys in their tea break started kicking a football around and they formed a football team, and the rest is history. I'm not giving too much away about that because we've got some funny one-liners as well on that tomorrow.
No, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, everybody, there's various debates about, was the Morton a jam factory? Was it a foods factory? Was it a tinsmith, silversmith? And again, we're leave that open for people to get on the tour so they can find exactly. There's various stuff out there where people are giving slight misinformation about some of the history around Millwall, and hopefully we will, through these tours, people going on these tours, they're reasonably priced. They're £13. And I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. It'll be good. I think it'll be eye-opening. I think it'll be good to actually see where things were. I know obviously about Asda, that Asda was one of our pictures, well, ain't there no more. And most people, will do, but it'll be good to be able to see various other parts of East London, of the Docklands where we were. But I mean, how are these tours taken on? I mean, have you had a good turnout for these tours so far?
Yeah, we've done 2 already. The first one was sold out. The second one was almost sold out, and tomorrow is almost sold out. We've got a couple of late withdrawals. As some people are self-idolizing. I can't remember. Self-isolating.
That's it.
There's always going to be a few no-shows, but what I've done is I've written back to these people and said, you can come on the next one, which is next March.
Yeah.
There's another international break on the 26th of March. So we're going to do another one then. And it'll be a bit warmer as well then.
Yeah.
Not that it's going to be cold tomorrow.
Do you also, obviously, because there's a lot of people that listen to this what probably are Millwall businesses, a lot of the people that possibly work in firms or even companies that want to do them as a bit of team building or a bit of, taking their customers there and whatnot. I mean, would you do these tours as a privately run on a different date if people wanted to? Obviously, they get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's geared for that as well. because right from the start we hit the ground running in the Docklands, which as you know, with your recent collage of all the shirts we've been wearing in recent years, we've got the London Docklands development across the team from the 1980s, and it has to start there because that's where the fan base was in the docks.
Yeah,
and then we actually walk across what was the factory floor of that so-called jam factory. Well, we get that one right tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the London Borough of Tower Hamlets Research and Archives Department need to hang their heads in shame with what's written on that pavement tile. But we'll cover that tomorrow.
Yeah,
and then we'll go to the sites of all 4 of the old grounds.
Yeah,
and we'll obviously go to the existing former headquarters, which were pubs.
Yeah.
We can't go to the original one because the Luftwaffe did for that in 1941. So, but the other thing as well is what I've deliberately put in the script is some amusing anecdotes. It's not all about fact, because we're going to try and entertain people tomorrow as well.
And I think that's. I mean, look, we've been having a chat for a little while before we press record, and you're a knowledgeable man. I mean, obviously, you like your history, you like your stats and all that. So I'm thinking that, the tour's going to be a great insight to part of Millwall's history, which probably, especially the younger viewers or the younger Millwall fans who followed recently, like we do a podcast with a young lad, Kai, who's only just turned 18. So for him, a lot of this history, and even Omar, to a degree, is only in his mid-20s. It will be a great insight for them of where Millwall started, how it become across, why we wear blue, why we wear what people relate to as Dundee blue. And I think it would just give us that better understanding of, you see, you're smiling there. I might kill another myth there. Because it's not necessarily Dundee blue, but go on.
No, Dundee were formed after us.
Right, yeah.
They were formed of two other teams in the Dundee area. East End Rovers. I can't remember the name of the other team now, but they did actually play in blue. But Dundee Football Club were formed in 1892, which is 6 or 7 years after we were.
Yeah.
But no, the reason why we play in blue is because the lads were from Scotland.
Yeah.
Simple as.
And that happened around that time. There was a lot of that going on, wasn't it? Because Corby as well had a strong Scottish influence back in near Northampton. They had a massive Scottish, and I think it was Scots were known as hard-working individuals, and obviously you could bring them down, house them, everything else, and you sort of got pretty much cheap labour. I suppose much now is we rely on a lot of people from Eastern European and those sort of countries.
Yeah, sure. Well, Arsenal were founded predominantly by Scotsmen as well. And so was a team called Oldcastle Swifts in East London.
Yeah.
Oldcastle Swifts became Thames Ironworks and then became West Ham United. Now, Oldcastle Swifts wasn't the name of a pub, by the way. Right. It was the name of a steamship which was owned by a Scotsman.
Right.
So lots of Scottish influence, because up north of the border, football was more popular than it was in England in the late 19th century. Down here, rugby was the most popular sport, and it took hold 1890s, early 1900s. The great teams of Sunderland, Preston North End, Aston Villa. But we will talk about the mighty Aston Villa tomorrow, because we managed to edge them out after 3 games to get to a semi-final of the FA Cup, which was a remarkable achievement for a club that was only 15 years old.
Yeah, no, yeah, well, yeah, we were infant, weren't we? But we were fairly a good team. Apart from obviously our first game, I think we lost our first game, didn't we? Our first official game, we lost
our first game on the 3rd of October, 1885, over at Leytonstone Way. It was a team called Philly Brook. The Philly Brook is one of London's long-lost rivers. There's quite a few of them have been culverted into sewers by now. And we didn't play our first home game on the island until the 24th of October. But again, we'll do the stats tomorrow.
I mean,
but I'm pleased you mentioned younger audience, because sometimes we get younger people on these walks, and we always design a quiz.
Yeah.
And during the half-time period, we've got some quiz questions. So we deliberately make it so that only 1/3 of the 15 questions relate to that older period.
Yeah.
So that we can involve the younger people as well with some questions on, on today's team. It's just a bit of fun, Mick. We just have a quiz and a couple of prizes, and it's a nice icebreaker, really, at half time,
No, I think that's what it is. I think the problem is with a lot of this, if you were going to football, everyone would talk to each other. And you'll have, the way that the demographics of people work, that you'll have a few what will know each other and have a conversation. But a lot of people in this sort of environment, especially after COVID, where people haven't been around everybody and all that lot, that people will probably be a little bit more reserved. And sometimes a bit of a few, liquid refreshments and whatnot will just liven people up a bit, where they might ask a question what could lead on to, other questions, what someone, suddenly someone else will say, oh, actually, my granddad, my great-granddad, my great-granddad worked here, or and you suddenly get different angles going off. But look, I mean, I'm going to look at trying to get this out either tonight or tomorrow morning before the tour. And if you are quick, you might be able to book the tour tomorrow and join us on the tour. But if not, obviously, drop Rob an email or sign up to the newsletter, what they do, and they'll probably be able to keep you in touch of when they do the next one. We will do another show after this once we've been on the tour, not giving away the secrets, but just doing a review of the tour, because I think that's only fair, really. It's good to go. But I would definitely like to get you back on and do, maybe when we do the shirts, maybe get you on and talk about some of the shirts and stuff, because we're going to be doing a couple of live shows later on in November, where we're going to look to try and debate what is the best shirt from the last 40 years. And I think they are probably the most prominent shirts in Millwall history to a degree. Yes, we've got the striped one from the 60s with the 59 unbeaten run and whatnot, but I think, and the white one from the 70s maybe, but I think that period, the last 40 years from 80 onwards, we've seemed to have had many different designs of shirts. So there's a lot there what will impede on certain people's memories, like.
And some of them shirts are really interesting, Mick, because depending on the makers, those collars used to curl up a bit, didn't they, after one wash? Do you remember? Used to curl up like Ali Baba's slippers.
Yeah,
that was embarrassing, really. But don't get me started on that.
Now you've got the ones which just the badges fall off and everything else. Shirts nowadays are definitely not there for quality. They, to be fair, they probably weren't then. It's all about profit now and making as much money as they want. So I suppose to end on, obviously you're a knowledgeable man. You can't do London heritage tours without, gaining a lot of the knowledge like what you would when you're a black cab driver. You need to know the ins and outs and everything else. So we'll take a couple of minutes at the end of this. Why should people come on your tour? And what's it going to give them as a Millwall fan?
I think it's going to give them a little bit of an insight into who we are. And that actually starts from the fan base in the Docks. Why we are the way we are, right? Compared to some of the other London clubs. It's also going to be entertaining, and we'll have a laugh. There's no match tomorrow. So come along. You can still buy a ticket up to 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So there's nothing to stop you. And if you want to find out any more information about these tours, get on the Out of the Blue Facebook group. Out of the Blue. You might remember a fanzine many, many years ago called Out of the Blue, which is no longer with us, but it's now a Facebook group which is our organ, really.
So you can go on there. We'll put all the details in the descriptions on this. So if you're watching on YouTube, it'll be in the descriptions underneath us. And look, it's well worth 13 quid. It's a Saturday afternoon, a few beers. I think the tour starts about 11:30. It's a couple of hours walking around.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, sorry. 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock it will start.
Don't be late, Mick.
Oh, no, I won't be late now.
No, we'll wait for you.
And we'll be there. Look, it's going to be fun. It's going to be insightful. We will do a review of this next week of the tour, and we'll get Rob back on. And
it's going to be different. It's going to be something that Millwall fans don't do unless they do their own self-guiding on the Isle of Dogs, which I know a lot of people have done. But we're going to string it all together for you.
This will be well researched. This is not looking at other people's documents online or videos what people have done where there's a lot of misinformation. This is researched properly by people who are registered tour guides of various other parts of London, massive Millwall fans, want to give something back to, give you some history on the early 25 years of Millwall. I think it's something what all Millwall fans need to get involved in. Hopefully this will be out tonight and you'll be able to have a listen and just get in touch with Rob. We'll put his email address. We'll put everything, not the email, we'll put the contact details below this. Get in touch, and you've got till 10 o'clock Saturday the 13th to get involved on this tour. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait till March or speak to him about a private tour. But I think it's definitely something you've got to do. Yes, we're on East London, but you know what? It's our manor anyway, so we're control it. But look, thanks very much for coming on.
You got to know who we are, where we come from.
Definitely.
It's like them programs. Who do you think you are? It's a little bit like that, And that was a brilliant rap, Mick. You've got it in a nutshell there, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for having me on.
No, definitely. We'll get you back on. We'll definitely do the bit with the shirts. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. And listen, thank you very much for taking 20 minutes out of your day to listen to this. It is a quick podcast, but it's definitely well worth getting on. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. If you are coming on tomorrow through listening to this, just make sure you give us a shout tomorrow when you turn up. But spaces are limited. So get in now. Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you again soon. Cheers, Rob.
Thank you, Mickey.